Well, Van is obviously a great coach.
Got to do it with supreme focus, right? With razor sharp focus. Breathe what he's breathing.
But he's a better person.
Biggest thing you gave me was time. You didn't really know me. We were from the same neighborhood and area, but I was with a group of guys that wanted to go to college, wanted to play ball, and you actually gave us that reality that, hey, this could actually happen because we saw somebody that was like us and that we wanted to become.
Only thing that matters is you come out here, play after play after play after play, and that's the play we do. That's what matters.
Recruiting is about relationships. It's built on trust. It's built on doing the right things, and it's built on your head coaches and your athletic director, their vision. And I think we have two great leaders, both of those positions. So it makes it easy for me to go out and do what I do.
Be aggressive. Let's win. Here we go.
Once again, I'm excited to have another leader in the world of sports on Leaders Lead with Van Malone. Coaches and administrators all over the sports world have enjoyed the great insight that we continue to have on this podcast. It's also been a remarkable experience for me personally. We've had a chance to share with conference commissioners, athletic directors, head coaches, and we've even had a Super Bowl champion NFL coach grace our podcast. Now, our next guest, who I consider a dynamic leader, has had a terrific career in college athletics. Dr. Jones, Dr. Tamica Jones, is a recognized leader in the collegiate sports world and has been an influential voice throughout her career as an administrator. She's held posts at the University of Texas, San Antonio, UC Riverside, and Clark Atlanta University, where she was the athletic director at both of those institutions. She's also done outstanding work on several NCAA committees. She's an amazing leader, like I said before, and a fantastic role model for anyone who aspires to work in collegiate sports. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Tamica. We're excited to jump right in.
Thank you, Van, for having me. And I couldn't resist being a part of Winners Win, Leaders Lead. I mean, that phrase has just probably been my life's work as I've gone forth in this journey of collegiate athletics as a former athlete, coach, and sitting athletic director, as you shared, and now as the chief operating officer at Kennesaw State University in my hometown, Atlanta, Georgia. So thanks again for having me.
Oh, yes. Great to have you. So now, my mom always used to say, don't ever say what you won't do, or don't ever say where you won't be. So I consider it funny when I think about it. Like sometimes we find ourselves in places that we never ever thought we'd be.
Yeah.
Right. And so for me, being a coach, I never would have thought that I would have coached at Mississippi State University. Find myself in Starkville, Mississippi. Right. Well, your path is somewhat unique as well.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to hear about it. But we want to know about your journey from being a former student athlete, a standout basketball player, point guard.
I was supposed to be a point guard, but I shot it probably too much. So they went on and moved me over to the shooting guard and found a point guard.
Okay. All right.
It was all good.
Okay, for sure. Right. Because I was checking out, I'm on research. There's a game I believe you guys played when you went to college with Clark Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
where you scored 17 points and ended up winning the game. You were down 15 points. Yeah, point guards normally don't take over like that, but I got you. And then I also researched to find out that you had a very short-lived cross-country career.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a whole story behind that.
Yeah, I understand. Right, I understand. So talk us through that path from being a standout athlete to then being a GA, and then now to being the COO at Kennesaw State.
Absolutely. I have to first say that I've been privileged from the standpoint of, being raised in a family that really supported me and pushed me into where my strengths were. And I remember growing up, the middle child and playing with my brothers outside. I played every sport right there in my yard, baseball, soccer, basketball. And then sometimes I wouldn't get picked for the games. And so actually what happened, my dad, built me a court, gave me a ball, and he said, now this is yours. Nobody cannot pick you for the game.
Okay.
My house was the bus stop. So I gained a lot of friends, a lot of leadership skills and ability probably during that time, and really a lot of confidence to be able to play with the boys, play with some very talented girls back in that day. And I just used and developed that skill to earn a basketball scholarship, full scholarship to college. And my mom was on the other end of that, with my dad giving me the ball, saying, education is key. Education can take you, further than that basketball will. And so I'm glad I stayed focused on my education. I went to two great undergraduate institutions. Troy University is where I started out. It was Troy State in the 90s. Mm-hmm. I like to tell that story because of two things. Troy State in the 70s wouldn't allow John Lewis to be admitted, even though he qualified. And in the 90s, they recruited me and offered me a full scholarship. And so it just tells you, when people, think about how far we've come and what changes have been made. I'm a beneficiary of the positive changes that have been made. The second thing about Troy that's significant is I was a transfer student from Troy to Alabama A&M, where I transferred from Troy to a historically Black college university. And the reason why I transferred, I did not know at 18 to 20 years old why I felt like I needed to do something different. But as I've, gone along this journey and worked at many different, institutions, I realized that it was a sense of inclusion. It was a sense of belonging. I was missing the culture and was not going to develop fully who you see today as Tamica Smith Jones. So Troy State was a great time. I played at a high level in Division I. I had a great academic career. I had great friends there as well. But socially, I was really disconnected. So I took a summer and decided I was going to transfer. I transferred, and now I have a lot of empathy for transfer students. Right. I have little respect for the transfer portal right now because it's just out of control. I mean, you're seeing whole teams transfer, but I do have a lot of empathy for transfers because, you deserve an opportunity to, be able to show up fully and completely and mature and develop. The college years, those 18 and 22-year-old years, age range is so important for the trajectory of your life. And so I got a chance to go to an HBCU, Alabama A&M University in Huntsville, Alabama. My parents are from Alabama, so it seemed like I was just going to stay in Alabama, and got my whole life. I got a lot more comfortable with who I am and who I was going to become. I got a lot more confidence in seeing, people that looked like me, my professors that pushed me, my coaches. And so from there, it just kind of took off. I graduated my undergrad, I ran cross country because I was a transfer student, and my coach needed to give my scholarship to someone else when I was done playing ball. So I had one more semester to finish. And he said, I need that scholarship. You can go run cross country for a semester. And that's what I did. I mean, it was just no other option. I couldn't go back home without that business degree. But the unique part of that story is the assistant coach at the time got a head coach job at Savannah State University. We never talked about me coaching or doing anything other than me going back to Atlanta to start a business, be a businesswoman. And he called me one day and said, I got a graduate assistant position. I think you'll be a great coach. I can't pay you a salary or in cash, but I can pay for your grad school. And my mom overheard that call. And she said, ask Coach when you need to be there. And she drove me to Savannah, Georgia, beautiful community, beautiful town. Really enjoyed those 2 years. I was doing as a grad student exactly what assistant coaches are doing right now in full-time roles. I mean, I was booking travel. I was, helping students with academic support. I was, on the courts doing, different drills and things, and going to school full-time in the evening. So I earned my degree in public administration in 2 years, found my way back to Atlanta, to my hometown, went to Morris Brown to be an assistant coach. So I got involved in coaching at another level at that time, from a GA to an assistant coach. And then from there, I started having a family, and really wanted to redirect my career in a way that I could balance a little bit more and manage my kids and spend time with them. So really found a real gift in internal affairs, which is really my strengths, which is part of what I do today as a COO, is running the day-to-day. It's making sure that I'm inspecting what we expect, being efficient, making sure balls are not dropping. Right now, as the COO at Kennesaw State, all units report up to me. We have program administrators that have responsibility of different sports. My primary sport is men's and women's basketball. Just finished the women's basketball search, so I'm really excited about being able to put an imprint on the program to move forward in a new era. As you know, Milton Overton, great man that has been doing amazing work. He's been at Power 5, he's been at HBCUs, and now he's at the second largest public institution in the state of Georgia. So speaks volumes to a man that would hire a number 2 that has sat in the seat twice as well. So that's been a lot of fun. But back to the journey, I coached a bit at Morris Brown, went to Clark Atlanta, coached also at Clark Atlanta. Our athletic director took a leave of absence. They called me to be the interim. I did that for a year. They felt like I was doing a great job. I was working with teammates that I had already been working with for 5 years. So it was pretty seamless to get in there and say, okay, guys, all the stuff we've been talking about, let's do it. Let's do it, right? And they did it. And I benefited from having the opportunity to be in the right place at the right time. The president at that time, was very supportive. He loved athletics. I was very in tune with how to integrate athletics into the academic setting. We did a lot of partnerships across campus with the different deans and colleges, and it was just a great, vibrant AUC experience. Won several championships, first in many. And won a men's basketball championship they had been chasing for about 40 years. And so it was a really exciting time. I transitioned from Clark Atlanta because I felt like I'd hit a ceiling. We were landlocked. I wasn't building anything, didn't have any capital projects going on. I was just kind of going through the motions for a couple of months and just really wanted something different. And UTSA just came around at the right time. San Antonio is a beautiful sports town, very diverse. They were starting football. They had a woman leader as their athletic director, Lynn Hickey, who's become a mentor and friend. And they gave me an opportunity to be actually the first minority senior administrator that they had hired in recent years. And so I was able to go there, be the senior associate athletic director again for internal affairs, had basketball as my primary sports and volleyball. Did great work there and got on the radars at California. And these stories don't happen unless you have people, watching your work speaking for you and championing for you. And the way I got to California really is by a former athletic director at the University of Maryland who worked with Kelly Mert, who was initially going to be on this podcast, Kevin Anderson. He and I had a casual meeting that we were going to talk about some professional development and things. I would make my rounds during the summer, and University of California, Riverside was looking for an athletic director. He had worked with one of the senior leaders, the VPs there, and they asked for a short list. Tell us who the best and the brightest are in the business. We're getting ready to launch a search. I got on that list. He put several people on that list. But I got a chance to interview at Riverside, never had been to Riverside, had been to SoCal, had been to LA, San Diego, the Bay Area, a lot of different places. But Riverside is a special, special place. Spent 6 years in Riverside. It was a dynamic time. When I got there, they were the bottom of the league in most of the sports. They had 17 sports or have 17 sports. And the president, he had come from the big leagues. He had been at Michigan State, Kansas, and some other places. And he wanted his program to be winning. He wanted his program profile to elevate at a different level. And he thought I could do it. And I'm just so grateful to Chancellor Kim for, believing in me, investing in me, bringing the first Black woman to sit in the seat full time. in the state of California at the Division I level to his program, and he put all the support around me that I could that I needed at that time to be able to build that program to something special. So that's the short of it. And hopefully I answered some of your questions, but I know you've got plenty more.
You absolutely did. And the person that I was trying to think of that we had connection with was Kevin Anderson.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
Love Kevin Anderson. He is definitely a champion of men and women, and does his part in this industry every day.
Right. So, well, now you are an incredible leader. You've been an incredible leader, like I said, throughout your career. But the last 2 years, they've been a challenge for all of us.
Yes, sir. Yes,
they've
sir.
been a challenge. So you alluded to the transfer portal, but COVID, political unrest,
Yes.
activism. You know,
Yes.
the fact that this younger generation of athletes they have a different power source when it comes to being active.
Mhm.
The initiatives of this social justice moment. What has all those things taught you about leadership?
Absolutely. So it just reminds me of, as a leader, that first of all, it's taught me to be a person first. And I've always said I'm a person, not a position. When I went to Riverside, that's one of the things that I just kept saying, this is a big job. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know anybody here. So who's going to cover for me and protect my blind spots and tell me what I need to know and, help me get through this. And yes, I had a direct line to the president, but I inherited a team that I wanted to assess and give them an opportunity to grow with me and go with us, right? All these different, elements I think I experienced at Riverside. I experienced the social unrest when Colin Kaepernick kneeled. And what I remember vividly during that time when he kneeled, going to the office on that Monday and stopping by my president's office and asking him, you may not know what's going on out here right now, may not be impacted, this to acknowledge the privilege that he had. But I'm raising a young man and woman in my house that are, African-American kids that, this man is kneeling for the protection of, my race and my people. This is going to impact a population on your campus. I need to understand as a leader how we're going to approach this. And he did what he always does. He trusted me to give him some advice on it, and he gave me, the go ahead to go and handle it the way I thought I should. And the way I handled that conversation was I went and called all my coaches together and said, this is going on. You may or may not be aware how this may impact our student athletes. I want you to be empathetic. I want you to listen. I want you to let's support them, make sure they have the resources that they need on campus, emotional, social, mental health, all these things. Don't just act like it's not happening. It is happening. And so at that time, my team at the time was not prepared for that. They had no idea what was really going on. They, were telling me all kinds of things that they wanted to do outside of letting our students have their freedom of expression. We did do the right thing, and I'm grateful for that. But fast forward to George Floyd. That was a whole nother level of intense, unrest. And so, again, as the leader at the time, people were putting out statements and doing all types of things. I went and called my team together, my coaches and staff, and I called them my student athletes this time. And I said to them, I know this is impacting you in some way. If it's not impacting you directly, it could be impacting you indirectly. Your parents, your family member, maybe police officers, your brother or your sister, your teammate, maybe, a partner to, someone that is of African-American descent. Whatever the case may be, I need us to sit down and talk about it together. Let's have some discussion. And so from a leadership standpoint, it allowed me to slow down and learn from my student athletes, learn from my coaches, learn from other ethnicities, how they're impacted by it. I never forget being on a call and hearing how it impacted a student athlete whose father was a police officer. And I'm thinking it from, a different perspective. Never would have thought about that, but having those conversations allowed me to do that. So I think that's what, all of the, COVID even has allowed us to do, because I had staff members that had partners and spouses that were working in the medical field. They were trying to keep themselves protected. We were trying to get them to show up for work. I had to just say, everybody stop what you're doing.
Right.
Before we ruin it all. But I think that as leaders, the key things of this is to listen, to learn, and then lead. I know we have some ideas sometimes that we just want to go in and lead. I think my leadership style has really transformed, and my approach has really transformed as a result of a lot of things. But those particular things that you've just mentioned have definitely transformed me, and I think made me a better leader today.
And it's funny, and of course have had presidents of universities, conference commissioners, athletic directors, and what you just said was really unique to all of them, is that you had to listen first, because you're the leader, right? The leader wants to grab the wheel and start driving.
That's right.
And what you have to do is you have to pay it. And I talked about this group of athletes as a coach, as a more seasoned coach.
That's right. I know. I played for some more seasoned coaches than you back in the day. Wasn't no compromise back in the day, but you better compromise and think about it.
I'm gonna tell you, this is what you feel, right? But not this generation.
That's right.
This generation of athletes, honestly, they want to be heard. If you allow them to express, you allow them to voice what's going on. And then, it's funny that as I talk to fans of our team, they say, well, Coach Malone, why are you on Twitter? And why are you? And I said, well, you know what? If you're going to recruit these student athletes, you have to respect them enough to go into the world that they live in.
Right. Exactly.
They live in that world. And so you're going to recruit them. You're going to tell them in recruiting that, we have relationship. Relationship means I listen to you. That's right. I find out what's important to you. And then I go from there. Now,
that's right.
Tell you that I'm going
not you dictating to them.
Right.
That's right. That day is over.
Listen, right? I'm going to at least listen. So, you as being a former player, right? Back in those days, it was when you shot your 3-point shot, right? That was the crowd, right? That was the thing that got you going back in those days. And then in your time as a coach, and I experienced this, it's seeing that light bulb go off in a player's life. Sometimes it's on the field, and sometimes it's off the field. But that's the drive as a coach. A little bit different drive as a player. But now in this world you live in every day, what is your game day? Where does your thrill come from?
I love this. I love the sound of you saying game day. I've had women's basketball candidates on my campus for the last week or so. And in the mornings, I would have breakfast with them before I take them to meet the team and the support staff and executive team. And the first thing in the morning I say when I'm going to pick them up was, "Good morning, coach. It's game day."
Yeah.
And that's the old baller in me. That's the old coach in me. Like, I live every day as an administrator like it's game day. And so what game day looks like for me is that I have to get up and make sure that I show up fully with the right attitude, with the right effort, with the right approach, being a team player. As the COO, I am like the orchestrator of all things that my athletic director wants to get done. And I'll take it even to another level. He's responsible to and accountable to the president. And because I've sat in the seat as a sitting athletic director, I'm in tune to what the overarching vision of the campus is and what the president wants as well. And I'm trying to make sure that I'm helping him as much as I can get those things done. Game day for me is making sure he can stay in the athletic director's role and do the high level. and I can stay on the ground level with the team and get all the other things done. And so it's been a lot of fun being at Kennesaw State, and being able to support a very competent, very competitive, very compassionate team of professionals. If you showed up on my campus right now, you would see people going in and out of my office, checking in, you good? Because we are intense every day, always, we're results driven. We're competitive, but we care about one another. We care about our student athletes. We keep them in the center of everything that we're doing and everything that we're thinking. And as an administrator, I have just really taken on the mindset that, yes, I'm student centered, but I have taken an approach that I'm also coach and support staff centered too, because I've been a coach, I've been an assistant before I sat in the AD seat. I'm now back as a number 2. And I think sometimes we miss taking care of the people, and we miss the real core of what it takes to make sure that our people are trained, that they're educated, they have the tools and the resources to do their jobs and do their jobs well. So when there's conflict, where there's crisis, where there's problem solving, we don't get on the defense all the time so quickly. We come together as a family unit, as a team, as a teammate to say, how did we get here? Who all needs to be at the table to help us resolve it? Let's get this resolved in peace. Let's not throw anybody under the bus, and let's all be accountable for our part. So that's what game day looks like for me. I look for a win every single day. If I don't win in some way a day, Milton will come to me and say, we just got this donation. And he'll say, we got to win today. Our other senior associates would say, we got something done that we've had jammed up in our process. That is my responsibility to make us more efficient and effective in what we do. And when they get it done, they give me a report and say, we got this done today. It's a win. We pound and we celebrate and we move on to the next thing. So that's what game day looks like to me. I bump around to our student athletes. I see them in practice. I check in on our coaches. I make sure our support team understand that we appreciate them. I'll bring them donuts on Fridays. After our women's basketball search, it was a slam dunk. I brought them donuts on Friday and said, you guys slam dunked it this week. Let's enjoy some donuts. So,
right. And for a football coach, you using those basketball terms, get it in the end zone, right? Get it in the end zone. But you as you talk about your role as a number 2 here at Kansas State, I sit in the role of assistant head coach, and before I was in that seat. But although it's been different for you, but for me, before I was in that seat, I was totally focused on my position.
That's right.
And my position. And why don't we have more, the cornerbacks, the defensive backs need more bagels, They no worry about any other position. And so since I've been in this role, and I really thank Coach Kleiman for giving me the opportunity to be in this role, because I see the things and I participate in the challenges that he is experiencing. Now, some days I'm trying to jump off the ship.
I already know it get hot. It's hot.
It gets hot, and it's been, I think, very rewarding for me. But then it's also been, I think, a comfort for him, because there are moments
somebody. That's right.
In that seat, right? Everybody runs.
It's lonely at the top.
It's
lonely at the top. And if you don't have somebody there to support and walk with you in some of the decision making, make sure you ain't losing your head. And that's right. That's good.
You referred to that earlier when you said when you were in that role early in your career, you needed that. You needed someone. So I think it's been good for him, but it's been a true learning experience for me. And you talked about the fact that as the leader, yes, we all are responsible for the student athletes, but you also, as the leader, you have to be responsible for
each other around you. Yeah.
Right, who are directly connected as well.
I call them my teammates.
That's right. And
that's right. And Van, you know, when you build that type of culture, I think you recruit leaders for good culture, right?
Right.
When you build that type of culture, we're going through our strategic plan right now at Kennesaw State University.